Welcome to the Alkalign Lifestyle Institute for Quantum Healing. I'm Fidelis Snuggless II. I'm your host and guide today, and I'll be talking to you about something that I think is very powerful and probably long overdue as far as in society's measures. And this is how to work on yourself. How to work on yourself. Now, it sounds a lot more daunting of a task, very hard and challenging process, but listen, it's not. Recently, I was going through my postings. I usually do my social media postings in the end of the week, but for whatever reason, I caught on to a press conference that was Gervonta Davis, the boxer, and he was being asked a question, and his response was probably the most powerful thing I've ever heard any professional athlete say. He literally stopped what he was doing as far as answering. He paused and he said, I need to work on myself. And it just woke me up. Like, yes, I think not only was that probably the most courageous thing he's done in a long time, and he's a boxer. I mean, he's got phenomenal. But as far as really being able to look within and say what you actually need and speak what you actually need into existence, that's something different. So when he spoke and said, I need to work on myself, it just brought me back to the time where I told myself years ago, I would say maybe 2014 or 2013, I really stopped myself and said, I'm gonna take this journey. I was 30 years old at the time, and I said, I'm gonna take this journey and I'm gonna work on myself. I'm just gonna become the best version of myself I possibly can be, no matter what it is. Whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, sexually, it didn't matter what it was. I'm not letting anything hold me back from expressing out my divinity. So I started to understand that there's a process. First thing I need to understand is how to navigate my way based on universal law. That's the first thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak to you in stages. So how you can find a way to start a process, like a step-by-step process to actually work on yourself. So first thing that you need to do is understand universal law. And this is actually the most freeing thing for you to do, because if you're driving a car and you don't understand what red light, yellow light, and green light means, you're probably gonna have a really hard time driving that car. It's gonna be a really challenging thing for you to do. So if you are actually expressing yourself, what you want to do is you want to tell yourself that you understand how everything works. And because you understand how everything works, you're going to be able to then move yourself throughout the space. So first thing you understand about universal law is it's connected to yourself. It's connected to yourself on the inside. From the inside perspective, this expresses the outside perspective. So let's start from the top. All right, I'll point them out. And as I point them out, I'm going to explain them. Okay, so first off, you have your crown chakra. Now, chakras are what? They're energy wheels. They're wheels of energy that go in kind of like a hula hoop of energy. And what they do is they govern different stages and sections of your entire body in terms of glands. Where those glands are located, those glands are giving off an energy wheel on the outside of your body. So it's front and back. It's not just, like north and south, or no, it's everything. It's a wheel. So your crown chakra, which is essentially your pituitary gland, is going to be the first law, which is everything is mind, mentalism, everything is mind. But what you really want to understand right now, there only is one law, everything is mind. But in order for you to see these laws, you have to split them up into 7 parts. So first off, the pituitary gland. This controls essentially how you're feeling. I'm gonna speak to you from a scientific perspective and a spiritual perspective, because most people who think spirituality just don't understand what they actually do. So in the case of your mind, in the case of how the law of mentalism works. Everything is mind, because everything goes to your mind first. So you don't move your hands, you don't move your feet, you don't move yourself unless you thought about doing it first. All right, it's like I'm gonna get you to understand this part. You are the controller, but the mind is the governor of how all the trillions of cells of your body work. Your mind controls the community. So yes, you're made up of 50 trillion plus cells in your body. All these cells have a different function. But if you ever walked outside to the ocean and seen a big pack full of birds or pigeons or like seagulls or whatever they are, and they all come together and they just take off at the same time, and they all go in unison, that's how the movement in your mind controls the cells and it controls you. So everything existing in the universe is a perception of your mind. It's a belief pattern. And so if you can just understand that this is all just an idea, and it's an idea of you. You're the idea. You're not disconnected from the earth. You're not separate from anything. You are a part of the earth. You're a part of everything. So going into where you can say senses, taste, touch, smell, sight, right? It's just a vibration in different frequencies. And this is why learning about frequencies and laws of vibration is going to direct you to laws of attraction. We'll get into that later. All right, so your mind creates a projection in an expanding way. And this is how you understand if you're purified from within, because all the energy is going to come from the bottom to the top, like a film strip, and it's going to play the movie out from the top in your head, in the pituitary, in your crown. This is where you're going to see that everything that you live is what you believe. So if you believe that the earth, that the planet, that the people in it are disrespectful, untrustworthy, right? Racist, whatever you want to attach it to. Everywhere that you go, you're going to find a reason in your brain to make that your reality. Meaning, if you believe that you're poor, or that you're broke, or that life isn't fair, or that you can't be successful because of your skin color, or you can't be successful because of the knowledge that you have or don't have, or you can't be successful because of whatever reason that you're attached to it, you're going to find every reason, because your mind will create that in your reality. So this is why it's powerful for you to understand that the first law, mentalism, is everything that you believe. If you change what you believed, you would change what you experience. So if you change your attitude towards life, and you said, life is wonderful. Everything in life is great. It's happening for me. It's happening for my benefit. It's happening for my growth. You would never look at life like anything happens as good or bad. You would just say it's inhalation, exhalation. You see what I'm saying? Positive, negative. It wouldn't be male and female. It would just say feminine and masculine. It would say, this is the logical, this is the creative. It's just two sides of your brain. Logical, creative. You can say what people have done is they've attached these things. Feminine perspective is a woman. Masculine perspective is a man. But that's not the case, because both a womb man, there's just man. It's not woman, it's womb man. Man with a womb. So it's just man. First of all, if you understand that, you don't separate. And you realize that the womb man also has the positive and negative, feminine, masculine. They have a mission, they have a purpose to go towards. They have a logical way of thinking, they have a creative way of thinking. And all you have to do is harmonize both of these. And then you have coherence. Once you have coherence, you've achieved the neutrality, you've achieved the homeostasis. Now you have the ability to find happiness. You can't find happiness if you're too far on feminine side, too far on masculine side, too far on logical side, too far on the creative side. You have to be balanced in between both with harmony. But you realize this, there will be some times where you're going to have a high moment and a low moment, and a high moment and a low moment. So we'll get into that deeper as well. So right now, everything is how you move the energy through your mind. You have to understand that whatever you say is what you're going to create. So the first law, everything is mind, goes down to the next law. And that's going to be that you have the law of correspondence. Now let's attach everything towards each law. The law of mentalism, your crown chakra, your pituitary gland. The attached solfeggio sound frequency for you to move the energy in this chakra is 963 hertz. If you understand how these frequencies work, which I'll also give you an overview at the end of this as well, you will see that it's moving the thoughts, it's moving the emotions and the feelings throughout your entire body. And it's moving this energy through your mind so that now it goes back into your bloodstream. So crown chakra, 963 hertz, pituitary gland, law of mentalism. Next law is the law of correspondence. The law of correspondence is then your pineal gland. This is going to be 852 hertz in the solfeggio sound frequency. What the law of correspondence means is that everything in the universe is a projection of it's related to what you're thinking. So how you look at this is you're constantly relating everything that you think to each other, because this is a mirror perspective. So everyone that's coming into your existence is on the same resonance and frequency as yourself, or you would not meet them. It'd be impossible. So once you understand that everyone is your equal, there is nobody superior to anybody else. Everyone is your equal, we're just different. That's how it works, because we're all projections of the self. The one self, the one thing. We all came from the one thing. Therefore, everything in the universe reflects something in the universe. Everything's related. Nothing we do is just free. It's like you would call it a wavelength, or a breath, or a breathing, or an echo. Some sort of way that you want to put is everything is connected, where nothing in this field of energy is void of itself. So if I go outside and I have an anger and a rage inside of me, I will only be able to see individuals who also have a rage or an anger inside of me. I will not be able to see harmonious figures. I will only be able to see people I am in resonance with. So if I do not want to see that in terms of correspondence and how the world is answering back to me what I'm putting out, because you will always get back to yourself what you are putting out. If I don't want to see what I'm putting out, if I want to see everything in a different way, if I want to see everything in a way that's beneficial to me, all I have to do is look at everything differently, and they'll look at me differently. I don't have to change anything on the outside. I change the person seen, which is myself. This is probably the most powerful thing that you're going to learn, is that nothing happens just because it happens. Nothing happens because you gave it a cause. So the law of correspondence tells you that everything is vibration. Nothing's separate. We're just a wave of vibrating energy. And this is why, as a man or a woman, you want to change what you eat, because what you eat is changing the energy that's going in and changing the waves that are going in. You don't need calories. You don't need to count calories. You don't need to count protein, because first of all, you're made up of proteins. Your DNA is made up of proteins, branched-chain amino acids that wrap around based on positive and negative in a circular perspective, because all atoms are spinning at every moment in time, point in space. If you understand that, you realize that everything is, again, a wheel, a spiral. And so if you go within yourself and you close your eyes, closing your eyes when you're awake is a bridge of connection between the unconscious, essentially the subconscious, which is all around you at every moment in time, point in space, and then your conscious mind. If you can then lower your brain waves, what happens is now you build a bridge of connection. And this is how you can change what you've been imagining. But you must let this thing play out. That's why meditation is so powerful. When you meditate, you become familiar with yourself and what you've done and what you are and where you go and those sort of things. So the law of correspondence basically says you're going to get back to you in response what you're putting out. Yell at somebody, scream at somebody, punch somebody, fight somebody. If they aren't actually enlightened and they don't actually know how this universe works, they're going to hit you right back. They're going to knock you out. Because they're going to give you back the energy that you're putting out. But if they're smart about it and intentional about their behavior, they will give you back the behavior that they want to actually express in life. And then that means you have to make a different choice. So you as a person, this is all going to reshape your attitude towards life. And this is the whole goal, is when you work on yourself, you reshape your attitude towards life. Okay, so you're dividing everything based on vibration. And this is going to be the next law. Let's go back to an overview, which is the law of correspondence, 852 hertz. And this is going to be your pituitary gland. And this is going to be your third eye chakra, right in the center of your forehead. Your law of vibration is going to be the next law. And this is going to be the throat chakra, this area here. Realize this, that what you say is what you're going to create, no matter what. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. What you say is what you're going to create. What you say is what you're going to make. Because you are the God that cannot lie. So whatever you say out into the screen of space is what you're going to create. And so if you can learn that you live your reality based on your level of frequency, what does that mean? What are you doing frequently? That's going to be your frequency. So essentially, if you are a painter that paints daily, that's your frequency, which is painting. If you're a singer that sings daily, your frequency is going to be singing. If you are a artist of some kind that draws, or an architect or something, or a researcher, whatever you are, that's your frequency. That's what you're paying attention to. If you look at a person, any man or woman, if you look at a person's mind like a radio station, you're basically like a stereo system, a person. It's like a stereo. And they have a graphic equalizer that's turned up and down, these dials that are turned up with minerals and nutrients and vitamins and different things that are going to govern their behavior. But we have to be tuned to a station. Maybe it's FM, hip hop, maybe it's classic R&B, country music, alternative, rock music, whatever it is, you're tuned to a station. And that tuning is going to be your frequency. There'll be yourself checking in to that frequency. There'll be others checking into that frequency, which is then how you go towards the law of correspondence. People will join you in your preference set. I prefer to listen to this music. I prefer to go to this place. I prefer to go to the library. I prefer to go to a bookstore. I prefer to go to a dance club. Whatever it is that you prefer, you'll find people at your preference set at that moment in time and point in space. They'll be right there with you because they prefer it too. See what I'm saying? So you can't serve everybody because you aren't aligned with everybody in your frequency. That's what that means. So everything is vibration. And so in the case of a low frequency, pretty much, you'll have these ripples and waves that are going out into the field. Think about this. If you wear glasses, if you have contacts and you couldn't see before, you were seeing a distortion. You were seeing a distortion of the field. And you cannot focus intently on the field because you weren't capable, because something in your brain was not pure. So nothing, it wasn't coming in a 100% in full, and you weren't able to see outwardly in front of you the things that you needed to see. So it was blurry. But why was it blurry? Well, those are the particles that you cannot lock into and focus into and slow down your brainwave pattern. You were just going, you were racing. And because you were racing, just think about it, like if you're on the highway, you were driving 1,000 miles an hour. You couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. You couldn't sit there and see what street sign it was. You'd miss your exit. You were speeding all the way down the process. You can only look at one thing. And so when you see that everything is vibration, what I say is what I'm going to create. So it's not just what I say, it's how do I say things. Do I say it with anger in my voice, animosity in my voice, tension in my voice, suppression in my voice, Am I a person that lives in separation? A person that lives in communion and creation with another being? Which one am I? I have to look at it from, in the beginning, everything was vibration. This is how it was separated. And so if I'm looking at the planet moving in a circular perspective, I also look at myself moving in a circular perspective. When I close my eyes, I see the spirals within myself. Everything's happening in the universe, it creates a rhythm. And so you're creating ripples in space all the time. So if I understand this, where I say, if I create a repetition based upon what I'm saying over and over and over again, what I'm affirming myself from within, I don't have to go outside to seek that because I spoke it into existence. You must speak things into existence. And this is why the power of the throat chakra is so powerful, because once you learn how to speak, you don't ever take this ability away from yourself, because you realize it's like a magic wand that you're weaving creation in just from your voice. You can communicate bridges. You can communicate tension. You can communicate wars. Recently they had I think it was Trump and the Ukraine president. They were talking about this tension and this arguing in the Oval Office. He was supposed to come to sign I think it was a mineral or something deal, and instead they left with an argument. And you realize that rather than being able to get something where you can open up a line of communication and connect yourself with a bridge, they did the complete opposite, just because of the voice. So people are getting divorced every day, left and right. You used to have couples that are breaking up, or people who are decommitting from another being because they have a lack of communication. And that's mainly just a lack of listening, a lack of being present, a lack of actually sitting there and saying, I'm just gonna give you the floor, and whatever comes to me, I want to allow myself to feel it. And then as I allow myself to feel it, I can decide what I want to do with it. People don't want to feel it. So rather than they have the emotion come to them, they don't want to feel that, so they're going to be defensive to stop the emotion from coming in. I used to do it. I was immature in that way. Now I just don't take destructive interference because I understand myself better. It doesn't mean that I don't open myself up to connection. I just understand where I have constructive interference, destructive interference. I know where I have both. So what you say is what you're going to create. What you want to do is you want to clear this area out. Everything from this nasal cavity, all the pressure that comes from your lymphatic system, you want to clear this area out, clear all the inflammation out, all the mucus, all the toxins that you've been taking in, clear it out and clear it out. The best thing that you can do is to consume different meals, consume fruits, water fruits. It's the springtime's coming up. You'll see a lot of grapes that are available. It's time for you to clean that out. Grapes pull all the mucus out of your body. That's my favorite fruit is grapes of all colors, green, black, red. They're great. The skin of the grape is also great for antioxidant purposes. It's just great. That's one of the greatest things. So berry kingdom. The berry kingdom activates your head, your brain. It's getting everything to clear out, and it's clearing the distortions away from you. So that's one thing that you can do. And also, always, if you are going to consume fruit, make sure you consume your fruit first. There's too many dietitians that talk to you and talk to people out there, and they say, it doesn't matter what order that you consume your food, it's fine. No, it's not fine. Okay, you need to have water a half an hour before you eat anything. When you're taking water, you're preparing yourself for digestion purposes. And also fruit is the same thing, because that's H3O2 chains. So you need to hydrate yourself from the inside and hydrate yourself from the outside. So you still have to drink water. That's the most consumed substance in terms of liquid on this planet. You need to consume some water. Animals consume water, people consume water. You can't just eat it. Now I know you've been told that it's wise for you to eat it. It is wise for you to eat it, but you still must consume it. And in order for you to get hydrated, you must meditate, because you must actually open your cells up to receive the water, because your cells naturally are going to block hydration because they need to survive. So they take in what they need, They poop and pee just like a person poops and pees because they're copies of yourself. And so just realize that fruit first before you have a meal, water first before you have a meal. And do it precisely within about noon to 7 p.m. You can have some water after that, but just don't chug any water. Just don't overdo it after about 7 p.m. Just kind of limit yourself at that. So in order for you to speak the things that you need to speak, understand your throat chakra, 741 hertz. So basically you're gonna sound frequencies. And this is essentially your law of vibration, okay? So next up is gonna be very powerful. And this is because this is the law of rhythm. And this is gonna be the heart chakra. The heart chakra is 639 hertz. And what this does is this tells you that there's rhythms connected to time. Time's connected to rhythms. So how fast your heart rhythm, how fast your heart is beating, this is going to determine how fast you create something, how fast you manifest something. So if you understand this, you will tell yourself, what are the rhythms of your heart and your natural beat? Because you have to look at yourself and say, anything, any movement that you've created, as far as rhythm, as far as heart rhythm, you may have had an experience with another being, another person. Maybe you had a partner in the past, or maybe you had a spouse or a child, something that you had, some type of experience in terms of your heart, where you were unable to open up your heart towards the outside. You were unable to open up your heart and go within to see what it is that you actually needed for yourself, to feel not shameful, not guilty, not where you gave yourself the love that you needed to have, the self-care that you needed to have. And this is where you're not looking at what you said and what you've imagined and what you believe. You're not looking at it from the top, because this is right here, your heart, this area here, your thymus gland, which is going to actually control your system of immunity, which is going to attack all the intruders that come into your heart and come into your body. You see, your heart is a valve. So your heart's not a pump, it's a valve. It creates an EMF structure, like a magnetic field, around your body in a torus pattern. And based upon what you're putting in, the blood that passes through this valve, the spirit is within your blood. I want you guys to understand what this means, okay? Your spirit is within the blood. You don't have the spirit within your head. You have it within your blood. So every time that you breathe, you're taking in oxygen. This oxygen is actually the spirit. This oxygen that you're gonna get, you have to be able to pass it through your entire body, because your entire body needs to feel this spirit. Some places in your body are blocked so much that they don't have the ability to receive this spirit. And then in that regard, you're going to get sick. So when you have a thirst for stability, when you have a thirst for, I need to be secure, when you have a thirst for, I need to have this in order to enjoy my life, you're going to experience illness, because when you get stable, the energy will push you into a discomfortable place so that you can do more. You don't want to do more. You don't want to go further. You don't want to run faster. You don't want to lift heavier. You don't want to concentrate longer. Okay, that's fine. I mean, do whatever you feel like you need to do, but the energy will feel like you need to do more regardless. So it doesn't matter what you feel like you need to do. It matters what the energy around you is shaping you, because it will change your cells, and it will cause you to be misaligned, and it will cause you to go towards the purpose that it wants you to go to. It's not about you. When you realize it's not about you, you change everything that you're thinking about. So also, let me show you guys this in terms of the heart rhythm. You only have one area in your body where you can hold the positive and the negative. where you can hold both perspectives and you can find a neutral place. There's only one place in the body where you can actually hold this energy, and this place is actually in the heart, meaning I can become neutral to everything around me. I can become neutral to, there's protests going on this side with Black Lives Matter. There's protests going on this side with Trump and a women's movement or something like that. There's protests going on left and right. There's protests going on for these wars on this side, or the Ukraine war, the Russia war. There's all these people who are attempting to pull your attention to different places to say that this is right and this is wrong. If you can look within your heart and ask yourself within your heart, what is right and what is wrong? And I mean close your eyes and do it. I don't mean looking at the news and do it. The worst thing that I believe people can do in this day and age is watch the news. If you want to work on yourself, you shouldn't even attempt to open up a newspaper or attempt to watch the news, because what that does is you're now taking on the persona or the perception or the perspective of somebody else. That's what you don't want to do. You need to keep your own perspective. I've been watching these TikToks that are being made. They have a gentleman named Dr. Umar Johnson. And I don't have judgment for anyone, but I'm looking at people with separation in their hearts. And I don't do angry people. So don't yell at me. So I don't care. If you feel like that in your heart, that's great. But don't yell at me like whatever you're saying is right and everything else is incorrect. So you're talking about snow bunnies now. This is a really big topic, I guess, for individuals. In interracial relationships, he talks about how he doesn't do snow bunnies. First of all, I don't take information, I don't take any teaching or opinions from somebody who is not in shape. I look at him and he doesn't seem to be the person that I want to look at as far as aspire to be like. He's not in shape. He's fat. I don't look at people who are overweight. I don't look at people who I believe are not purified from within and are withholding bad energy. And they have too much judgment. I don't believe in separation, period. I don't care if my wife or my romantic partner was purple or blue or green. All I care about is they have a heightened level of awareness and consciousness, and they're able to shape me and allow me to walk freely through the world, to express myself in a way that's going to give back the love that I put within myself. If not, I don't deal with those people. So I'm looking at this landscape of separation. It's like we're diving into a world of separation. And people aren't seeing that every person that's supposed to be a mentor or a leader or an activist that's activating something within you is only activating whatever in themselves, and that you are in response to it, going to participate or you're going to agree or disagree, all right? You'll see people talk about these movements, and they'll talk about the trans movement, and they'll talk about the LGBTQ movement and all these different things. I don't believe in any of that. I think actually that it's just an acidic lifestyle that's being lived, and the person is not able to differentiate, and they're not able to get to the divine spirit from within them because they don't have the connection from within them. That's it. That's all I think it is. No one's gay, no one's lesbian, no one's trans, anything. None of that. I think it's all a lie. I think what happens is they find a way to justify not going within and not dealing with the emotions that's come to them, so they run from them. They run from them. So now you have a bunch of grown-up children without any self-love. They're not able to be self-reliant. They're not able to lead themselves or to parent themselves. They're just emotional and they're just responsive. And this is due to the inability to balance the heart chakra. So because they didn't balance out this heart rhythm, they're looking at themselves in the past, like the past is their present. So they're only looking in the rearview mirror at their past. They're saying, this is the reason why I can't go forward, because that just happened to me in my past. And so if you're living from the past in your rearview mirror, you never actually get to go towards the future that you're living in, because there is no past and there is no future. There's always the present. That's all there is. So what you do is you live from the end, because that future imagination that you created, you're going to now do it backwards and bring it into existence. If you're living from the end. If you're not, you'll be chasing that thing. You'll never be speaking it in. As I said, in terms of the first law, mentalism. Everything that you live is what you believe. So if you keep on saying, I want this, I want that, you're always going to give out the vibration of I want this and I want that, but you won't have anything because you're too afraid to speak out into existence. I have this thing because of what you're seeing around you, because everybody is telling you that you have to see it in order to believe it. But that's a lie. You have to believe it in order to see it. They're incorrect. You are correct. The conscious mind is 5%. 5% active in terms of manifestation, in terms of manifesting what you create in your life. It's 5% active. The subconscious mind is 95% active. It's 95% active. So it's all of this. Your subconscious is not under anything. It's surrounding you. You're in an ocean of a subconscious. That's what that means. So it's under your conscious mind, meaning your heartbeat, that's your subconscious. Meaning your breathing, that's your subconscious. When your eyes blink, your subconscious. When you're sneezing, your subconscious. It's attempting to expand you, to express from within you, to tell you to stop suppressing, to be what you were placed on this planet to be. And this is where your heart rhythm really comes into play. So, how fast you create something, is due to the rhythm of your heart. You have to wait for the rhythm of your heart to go to the next step. You can't force anything. You can't go out and force these things. Because if you do force these things, you're going to hit a wall and you're going to go back down. You're going to see people who win the lottery. You're going to see people who become billionaires or become multimillionaires, and they're so young. They're now searching for meaning of life, and they're searching for all these things because they thought that this was supposed to get them what they wanted. They thought this was supposed to get them where they needed to be in terms of self-love. But they were just chasing something. They didn't have it from the start. So you can go all throughout life chasing the material outside the world and not realizing that the material outside the world will give you a sense of being, but it won't give you the sense of being that you need in order to feel what you need to feel, which is eternity. That's unconditional love. So again, heart chakra, you can say thymus gland. You can also say celestial sound frequency, 639 hertz. Let's keep going. You'll now have the plexus, solar plexus, which is going to be your gut, which is the law of cause and effect. Now this is powerful because 528 hertz is one of the biggest and most researched celestial sound frequencies because of the fact that many people eat. I won't say every person eats because some people don't eat. Some people don't have food or abundance of food, but many people do have abundance of food and they eat. The law of cause and effect is basically going to tell you what you're putting in, and what you're expressing. This is where you start to say every effect has a cause, every cause has an effect. And you've been the person that's created every cause. Nothing happens to you just because it happens. Nothing happens to you without a purpose. You have to look at it from nothing happens by chance. You had this experience come to you because you are the one that created the cause. So say you had a tense fight or something or with your spouse or your partner or your children. You could have responded in a different way. You always have the chance to respond in a different way. You always have the opportunity to change what you're doing, to change how you're being. You always have the opportunity to change that. And if you don't change that, if you don't do that, you're going to suffer the consequences of being entangled with the energy that you did not want in the first place because you were unintentional about your behavior. That's where this comes down to. The law of cause and effect is one of the most powerful things for you to understand. is that there's no reason for you to complain about anybody else's behavior. There's no reason for you to complain about what anybody else is doing to you. There's no reason for you to complain about anything that comes to you in your life. There's only you, and it's always been you. Based on all these 7 laws that you're being taught right now today, you're going to realize that the work on yourself is for you to turn within and say, you've been the designer of your entire life, and this is how and this is why. You need to change that in order to design a different life. You're the producer, you're the actor, you're the actress, you're the audience, you're the technicians, you're the film crew, you're the cameraman, you're everybody. You're just multiplied in different scenes of your entire life, but it's all just reflections of yourself. Everyone that you meet is a reflection, again, of yourself. So, based on the law of cause and effect, you've got to start to write down what it is that you've been doing. You must start to write down and become a journaler, become a person that's keeping a storybook of your life. When I was by myself and I was training myself, I realized that I had to just start to write down what it is that I'm wanting out of life. Where am I at? Where's my point A to go to point B? I must write down what I have right now today. I must write down where I'm going towards point B. And I must actually be specific and be intentional about it. And stop acting as if I am unable to plug in an address on a GPS. I must not live like that. I must live in accordance with where my true nature is and lies in its being. I must find a way to do that. So, first thing that you can do is start to check what you put in terms of food. You keep a food journal. Now, I follow the circadian code. So at the Alkalign Lifestyle Institute, you learn how to eat based on the circadian rhythms. I intermittent fast every day. I don't eat until afternoon, meaning 12 noon on the clock. That's when I can start to eat food. I have from noon until 7 p.m. to eat whatever food that I want to eat. Dinner, whether it's grain, whether it's fruit, but I'm all plant-based. I don't eat anyone else's blood because I don't need to have any animalistic behavior that comes from someone on the outside. I have my own clock. So you have your own circadian clock. So the reason why I have the energy that I have, I don't have to do a deep inhalation. I don't have to do these things to take in more oxygen because I have so much. My circulation is always top-notch, top level. I never look at myself where I can't feel that what I've put in terms of fuel is the best fuel for me. Because again, we're going off of wavelength, laws of vibration. This means that whatever you're putting in needs to have the highest amount of angstroms of energy. Angstroms are the measure of wavelength. That's how you're understanding your process. It's not calories, it's not counting macros, it's not counting protein. It's counting wavelength. The highest amount of wavelength that you're gonna get comes from raw fruits and raw vegetables. Raw fruits is first, up to about 10,000 angstroms of energy. Raw vegetables up to about 8,000 to 9,000 angstroms of energy. Now, this does not mean that you eat out of order. You still eat in order. Fruits burn the fastest. So you must be able to say fruits are the cleansers, vegetables are the builders. I repeat, fruits are the cleansers of your body, vegetables are the builders. You need to build muscle, you need to build connective tissue, joint stability. You're going to use vegetables. Fruits are going to cleanse and they're going to liquidate, hydrate, like WD-40. You need to have some water. So this is how you're going to see the process. You need also to have a small amount of grains, small amount of nuts. These are also your branched chain amino acids. What you do is you realize that you're part of the zodiac sign. So up above you, as above so below, the stars are governed by the zodiac. Those stars governed by the zodiac have certain cellular salts that you need to have inside your body, but they're unlocked based on the food. And also, if you don't get to where you eat a good enough diet, click my description below And I have 90-day cellular detox, replenish and awaken, that you get a night and day formula with all of your 12 cell salts inside of it. And not to mention, you have 17 alkalizing herbs to alkalize your body and go from acidic to alkaline. And then you also have 9 solfeggio sound frequencies infused in it by cymatics, meaning it was placed on a plate that vibrated. So now all of a sudden what you're taking in is now going to change up your laws of cause and effect. So your microbiome in your gut is a very powerful tool. And you need to understand that your gut microbiome is created by what you're putting into it. Alcohol is poison. Your solar plexus has 12 cranial nerves attached to every system in your human body. So when you put in something that's bad, processed food or toxic food, you're going to create toxicity amongst all 12 of your body systems. It can affect your hearing, it can affect your eyesight, it can affect your joint stability, it can affect your connective tissue, it can affect your heartbeat, it can affect everything. So all autoimmune disease, everything is a gut-related issue. So understand cause and effect. This is big for you to understand. First thing that you mainly need to do, I believe, is work on your gut. If you're trying to work on yourself, work on your gut. So that means at nighttime, play 528 hertz, solar plexus. Remember, this is law of cause and effect, your solar plexus. This is going to be one of the most powerful things for you to look at. Let's go down to the law of polarity. Law of polarity. This is going to be your sacral, 417 hertz. This is going to be your area of where you basically look at two opposing sides of the same thing. All right, law of polarity. Now, polarity means connection. You have positive and negative, feminine, masculine, but again, it's not male and female. You can look at right brain, left brain, logical, creative. You can look at it from that perspective and keep it at that perspective. Don't keep saying that you have to be feminine in order to be, or women have to be feminine, men have to be masculine. Sometimes you'll have the woman who has to lead and the man who has to, be creative. Or the woman who has to be creative and the man who has to be logical. You have to take turns, because once you come into a relationship, you create a vesica, which is 2 that then creates 1. So that circle in the side is going to be half of your self and half of their self. And your love sits in the center of this area. So the law of polarity, you can say two opposite aspects that belong together. And it's just positive and negative. It doesn't mean that you're an opposite person in terms of the thing that you do. No, it means that you're opposite in terms of there's a woman, there's a man. So no, you don't have positive and positive. You don't have two womans and you don't have two men, because you can't pass on creation like that. There's no way for you to pass on creation like that. So somebody's not living in alignment. Someone's not living in accordance. And then what's happening is both of you now are being entangled with not living in accordance. And that's why this law makes the most sense. Or else you're gonna have men competing in women's sports and somebody is saying that that's okay. Women competing in men's sports, and somebody saying that that's okay, but it's not. It's not okay, because inherently there's positive and there's negative. You don't do that. There's no point in you doing that. Not saying that you can't have, coexisting places or spaces, but there's no reason for that. Yeah, so two things that have been separated and against each other, right? It's like having a duality. And so if you can see polarity, it's just creating constant movement. So think of the outer world as the photonic emissions, the light, that's positive. The inner world is the negative. It doesn't mean good or bad. It just means this is positive and this is negative. You have a battery. When you have a battery, an alkaline battery, you have a positive and you have a negative. Okay, you have cathode, you have anode, you have copper, you have zinc. Copper is in your gray matter, zinc is in your genitals. And this helps to create. And the electrolytes are in the center of the battery. There goes your solar plexus. So this is how you're working on yourself. You're really understanding how this thing called yourself actually works. So the laws of polarity, you don't go towards extremes. You don't have to go towards one side. Because if you go towards one side of the light, all of a sudden, if you're going so far towards the light, then the darkness shrinks. But darkness is not bad. You need to be able to close your eyes so that you can create something brand new. Because the feminine aspect, the creation, you can say that the creation aspect is the womb. Well, I need to close my eyes to meditate so I can see it twice. I think it happens twice. It doesn't happen once, it happens twice. So I must create it within my mind. So then it can come on the outer world. It can come into the outside perspective. This is how it works. So polarity means connection. All right, with polarity, everything's connected, everything stays in motion. That's your law of polarity. 417 hertz, your sacral, at the base of your spine, which is where you raise your kundalini energy from the base of your spine to the top of your head, your cerebrospinal fluid. This is based on breathing. If you need to understand how to do this, kundalini breath. Inhale, hold it, and then you flex your abdominal muscles. You start pumping the oxygen. You start pumping the energy now. And now it starts to go all the way from the bottom to the top. You can also do this by holding a long extended kegel, your perineum. So whenever you're having sex, this is where you call it semen retention. Semen retention does not mean you don't have sex. It means that whenever you are having sex, rather than you ejaculate, men, you hold. It's just like whenever you go to the restroom and you're about to pee in a stall or in a urinal. You stop the flow of urine coming out of your penis and you hold it. You hold it and you basically flex that perineum and you send that energy all the way back down from the base. You send it from the base down all the way up. You just send it all the way up from the base of your spine to the top of your head. That's semen retention. Rather than me ejaculate my seed, I send the seed back up to my head. Now I retain that seed that I've created overnight. That's how it works. Now lastly, so let me repeat. So as far as the law of polarity, 417 hertz, this is going to be the sacral bone, the sacral chakra area at the base of your spine. The law of generation. Here's how you understand that nothing is just still. There's always new things. It's always changing. That you have to generate the energy in order to do that. This is why this controls that. That also controls this. You can think with either head. Which one do you want to think with? Men and women both. You can think with either head. It's in a wheel. Torus pattern. It's going out constantly. You're radiating a torus pattern constantly. Whichever one you want to do, you have to choose. But be intentional about it. This is how you generate new ideas. So there's a way for you not to be consumed by this. And this is determined by purity. This is why you change your diet. This is why you change your water to ionized water. Check freshpure.com. I always refer people to freshpure.com because they have what's called negative ORP, which is a negative oxidation reduction potential, meaning it's a reduction to oxidize inside your body. It takes that down and so you're able to keep this flow of movement throughout your entire body. Water that you see on the shelf in the grocery store dehydrates you, and it does not hydrate you. So the good thing for you to do is to understand how genetics really works, and for you to understand how anatomy works and how energy works, and for you to be confident in what you're doing. But this is the thing that you're going to understand. There's questions that you need to ask. You know, are you the definition of yourself? Are you exactly what you think you are? You know, what are you projecting into your own reality? Which rhythm are you moving into? Because this is determining if you're going to change. You know, like, what's the rhythm of your heart? Beat step by step. What is the rhythm? You know, are you doing this in terms of love, self-love? Do you have self-love? How are you speaking things into existence? Are you speaking things that you really want into existence? And how are you speaking them into existence? Are you speaking them confidently? Sure of yourself? Guarantee? Or are you speaking doubt in terms of you're not sure, you're doubting yourself? The seeds that you're planting are not sure. What are you speaking? are you paying attention to your actions in order to create good effects? Because if you're not realizing that you are the cause, then you're just going to keep going on through life with no intention. You'll be saying things, or you'll be repeating things over and over again, maybe because of your anger, or your place, but you're not going to be doing the things that are in harmony with achieving the goal of harmony. You're achieving the goal of whatever you, anger or rage or whatever that is for you. You're achieving that goal. So it's based on the goal. We're not studying just the cause and effect. We're studying the actual cause by saying it's you. What's your actual goal? You're always going to go towards your goal. So you must know what goal you're trying to go towards. Are you going too fast? Are you going too slow? Like, are you trying to sprint through life and everything? Or are you actually stopping to smell the roses, like they say? Stop and smell the flowers. Or are you actually paying attention to your surroundings? And if you can look at yourself where you're saying, respect the light that you're expressing outwardly, and respect the dark when you go in to commune with yourself. You know, you have to bring them into balance and harmony. Close your eyes while you're awake. Slow down your brain waves, connect the bridge, and learn about yourself based on meditation. The word meditation means to become familiar with yourself. We're changing this. This is how you're working on yourself. It begins by knowing what to change. It begins by breaking the habit of being your old self and going towards the new self. And then what are you looking for? You know, and what do you have to give out to the world? You generate something where you can create products, and you can create books, or you can create inventions, or you can create systems that are something that someone else can use, because you're using the correspondence that you're getting from the rest of the world to say you have a hand of giving and a hand of receiving. You must use the hand of giving so that then whenever you come back to the hand of receiving, you can find a balance and harmony in both of them. So this law is a law of generation, which extends down to 3 levels: 396 hertz, 285 hertz, 174 hertz. This is all the root chakra, the root chakra. And this root says, I'm walking towards it. Okay, I'm moving forward and I'm walking towards it. And then I'm generating the energy from within myself. So knowing these laws helps you understand how everything's connected. It helps you understand how everything's formed. It also understands how it gets you to understand how you're formed and how you can work on yourself and how you can start the process off by changing everything. Who cares about judgment of other people? Have the courage to be disliked by anybody. Doesn't matter who the person is. Have the courage to be disliked by everybody else so that you can have the courage to be loved by yourself. Choose yourself first. Just choose yourself first. And I guarantee you'll find yourself in the right room. Not everybody's supposed to be in just every room. You're supposed to be in the right room. When you go to the right room, you'll have your audience, you'll have your people that have their passions that share it with you. All you gotta do is be authentic. But that means you must be vulnerable first, you must be accountable second, and transparent third. Watch my video in the past I made about how to become authentic. You guys will see that as well. So if you found anything useful in this video, please like, share, subscribe to our channel. Every week we have brand new content that comes out. If you're looking for one-on-one coaching, if you're looking for cellular detox programs, if you're looking for a VIP getaway retreat, we're doing multiple the remainder of this year out in the Ojai Mountains and some other special places along this in this country and around the world. Other than that, until next time, peace.